Clock is a 2023 American science fiction horror film written and directed by Alexis Jacknow in her feature-length debut, based on her 2020 short film of the same name. The film stars Dianna Agron and was released on April 28, 2023, on Hulu in the United States and on Disney Plus internationally. Dianna Agron as Ella Patel. Jay Ollie as Aiden Patel. Melora Hardin as Dr. Elizabeth Simmons. Grace Porter as Shauna. Saul Rubinek as Joseph. Stephen Sims as Harvey. Ella is 37 and uninterested in having kids, despite pressure from her friends and family. Her father, the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, urges her to reconsider. Her husband Aiden suggests that she visit a doctor, Dr. Weber, for breast cancer screening. At the doctor's, Ella explains her trepidations about childbirth and her wish that her biological clock would kick in. Dr. Weber says Ella's clock might be broken, then suggests an experimental treatment. Ella leaves to enroll in the study under the guise of working on an important work project, which she backs out of by phone. She meets Dr. Elizabeth Simmons, who claims that she can fix Ella's clock with an implant and hormones. Ella begins taking the prescribed pills. During a Rorschach test, Ella hallucinates a very tall woman, a family of dead bugs, and a grandfather clock. Dr. Simmons suggests that the clock represents Ella's fear of ending her family line and that she's ready for the next step in the treatment. In a sensory deprivation chamber designed to make her face her fears, Ella sees herself with a baby swinging from between her legs like a pendulum, as well as terrifying scenes of childbirth. She screams to be let out. When the chamber opens, she sees the tall woman standing at her tank, runs, but slips and hits her head. She passes out. When Ella awakes, Dr. Simmons tells her that a strong reaction to the treatment is a good sign. Ella watches the surveillance footage and sees that the person standing outside the tank was the attendant. Ella assents to the last procedure, the insertion of the implant, and returns home. Ella and Aiden attend a party at her pregnant friend Shauna's house. Ella hallucinates a spider again and attempts to smash Shauna's belly with a heavy book, but Aiden stops her. Shauna is unsettled. Though still wants her to design her nursery, the side effects continue. Ella loses her color vision, hears the tickings of a grandfather clock, and sees normal people as the tall woman. She keeps this from Dr. Simmons to avoid being pulled from the study. As she has an episode in Shauna's nursery, Shauna walks in and discovers that Ella has been decorating the room with horrors, painting the tall woman and other objects of her hallucinations, and nailing jagged pieces of wood on the wall. Aiden finds Ella sitting at home in shock, with cuts on her hands. She explains what happened, and he consoles her. As he cleans her wounds, she tells him she's ready for a baby. They have sex and are immediately interrupted when the implant cuts Aiden's genitals. He asks her to grab gauze from his bag. Ella sees the treatment facility logo on the bag and confronts him. Aiden admits he met Dr. Simmons at a trade show and plotted to have Dr. Weber suggest the study to Ella. In a rage, Ella aggravates his injury and leaves. Ella drives to the facility and confronts Dr. Simmons before other participants. They argue, and Ella asks for the implant to be removed. Dr. Simmons refuses. Ella begins to remove it with pliers and is stopped by the tall woman. When Ella knocks her down, the tall woman turns into Dr. Simmons. Ella rips the implant out of herself and is able to see colors again. Several police cars arrive. Ella flees by car. Stopped near the edge of a cliff, Ella answers a call from Aiden. He tells her that he called the cops after seeing what she did to her father. Ella is bewildered, then realizes the clock she tore apart was actually her father. She leaves the car in despair and is handcuffed by the cops. She runs for and jumps off the edge of the cliff. Ella lies at the bottom of the cliff, by the edge of the water, with no visible injuries. She watches a strange fish-like creature crawl out of the water towards her. The film originated with a short film by Jacknow of the same name, with the feature-length version commissioned in 2020 by 20th Digital Studio. 3. The film has Leal Naim as producer with Alex Hansen co-producing. David Worth and Brooks are by Pedrashan, and Jenna Cavell are executive producers. 4. According to Jack Now, the horror genre allowed her to get the film made. It's just a really great genre for getting out message-based material. I got to talk about female body autonomy in a movie that's going to be on Hulu, because it's a horror film. Clock had its world premiere at the Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans on March 31, 2023. The film was released on April 28, 2023, on Hulu in the United States and on Disney Plus International. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 79% of 33 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of June 2, 10. The website's consensus reads, while Clock may strain some viewers' suspension of disbelief, it's a mostly effective attempt to view reproductive pressures through a chilling horror lens. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 59 out of 100, based on 7 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Some movie prices are as follows. I think they want us feel uncomfortable when we finish this movie, so they are successful. This is a total uncomfortable movie. Moral of the story: nature is the most beautiful thing. Be normal and be natural, this is what people want. Don't obsessed with other people happiness, because whatever you done for people it will be never enough. So don't be those kind of people who always think about other people thought. Be yourself. This what you are. Be a world-like stranger. When we died, we don't know yet. So don't be obsessed with this kind of people need. Otherwise, you will lose yourself. Finally, this is disgusting movie. A woman who doesn't want to have kids? How could she not want to? How unnatural. People saying these things are the reason this movie was made. As a woman of a certain age who still feels ambivalent, this resonated with me. Sure, the sources of outside pressure for the main character are amplified to a degree that's almost comical, but what makes it scary is the feeling created by these pressures in the film is not far off from the mounting external pressures I feel in my own life. They exaggerate to give others a taste of what it feels like, if you've never experienced it. The lack of trust and worry she has about her partner not being on the same page as her, even though he says her health and well-being is what's most important. This is a big fear of any child-free person. Can anyone take me as I am without secretly wanting to change me? That's a horrifying thought in and of itself. Trying to change yourself on a fundamental level is a bad idea, this film tells us, but what happens if those constant outside pressures get to be too much and you give in? A disturbing commentary on what it feels like to be told on a daily basis that your feelings are wrong and need fixing. Please leave your comments below in the comment section. Goodbye and see you again.